Hey guys, Kohana here. Today I want to talk about a few art supplies. I want to talk about the Master Touch markers, which is a Hobby Lobby brand, along with two other types of marker paper. For the Master Touch markers, I'm surprised nobody is talking about these markers because they're very similar to the Artist Loft markers, but these seem to be a lot sturdier. I've seen plenty of reviews on the Artist Loft markers, and a lot of the complaints I see all the time is the nib is stiff or it frays right away. But these markers, the nib it feels very similar to the Ohuhu brush nibs. They are pretty sturdy. I've had them for about a month, I think. But these markers, they are $5.99 full price, but Hobby Lobby always goes on sale. Like, for instance, this week, Hobby Lobby has these markers on sale for half price, which is $2.99. When you go into the store, there's a really large selection. The main reason why I purchased these markers were because I was looking for pastel colors to go with my Ohuhu markers, and I didn't feel like ordering online and waiting for my package to come. When I was like, well, I can try these out and see how these go, and they were on sale at the time. Anyway, the color of these markers are very bright, very vibrant. And it seems like I don't have a lot of trouble blending them with the other markers I have, which I have some Winsor and Newton markers along with my Ohuhu markers, and they don't seem to have an issue blending with either of these markers. The other thing I also want to talk about is the Master Touch marker pad. On the Master Touch brand's marker pad, the first thing you'll notice is the paper is really thin, but it has a coating on it. I'm guessing this is similar to what people talk about when they recommend the Express card. I mean, of course, the Express card is going to be thicker than this paper. This paper is very thin. I would definitely recommend putting either a piece of paper or which my recommendation, if you don't want to waste paper, is to use a sheet protector underneath your marker pieces. That way you can just grab alcohol, wipe it down, and keep using it over and over again. But anyway, the colors lay down very beautifully on this paper. It lies down completely flat. What I mean is, before I bought this paper, I used the Georgia Pacific Cardstock, which is in the yellow and white packaging. A few YouTubers you may watch that also do marker art that don't use the Express blend. They probably also use that cardstock or some form of cardstock. I either use that, or what one YouTuber advised was to just use typing paper, which I've done that before. Except for when you use either of those two things, once the ink dries and you go back and look at the work, you notice that there are white specks of the paper coming through the marker on your finished piece, which I personally don't like. I feel like if I decided to go and scan this piece and put it on, better quality paper for a print or anything of that nature, I don't want these white specks showing up in the print. So that's when this marker paper comes in. The colors lay down very flat. They look even more vibrant on this paper, and they do blend, but it takes a bit of effort to make these blend. Also, another thing to be aware of is when you're blending with these, including if you're using bullet nib markers, maybe you can't afford brush nib markers at the time, or you already have the old Ohuhu markers, which were bullet and chisel nib, then be a little bit careful when you use those markers on that paper. The paper will take it, but when you start going into blend, it will start tearing up and creating a bit of a texture, which you can brush off after the piece is dried down and everything, but you know, can't go into it pretty heavy-handed or you might tear a hole in this paper. The pad itself is $8.99, but of course Hobby Lobby always has sales going on. If you can't afford $8.99, you can always wait until a sale comes on and get it for half price, which would be $4.49. And it comes with 60 sheets. Hobby Lobby also offers a bigger pad, you know, larger amount of paper in the pad, which the original price is $12.99. But once again, you can wait until it goes on sale, because it can go on sale too, and pay $6.49 for it. So, like, if you want to use this paper as like practice paper to get used to what marker paper feels like or what to expect, because I look at the price online for the Express Cardstock. I think it was like $15 to $20, and I was like, not about that lifestyle, boo. No. But anyway, I don't know why anyone is not talking about the Master Touch marker pad. Even when I went on the website, I only saw 3 reviews on it, which the reviews were pretty good about. The product itself is rated 3 stars on the website. So I don't know why no one's talking about it. I don't see it on YouTube, which I guess I'm going to start the trend. But definitely check that paper out. If you never used marker paper, you want to see what it's like, and jump up from cardstock. Another paper I have in mind is the Canson's XL Bristol board. Now, everyone is talking about this paper. Either this paper, which is in the smooth, just to highlight, this one is the smooth Bristol board, or the Strathmore Bristol board. This marker pad is $10.29 full price, but once again, you can find this at Hobby Lobby and wait until it goes on sale and catch it for $5.15. So on this paper, it blends beautifully. Like the markers just marry with each other when you use this Bristol board. But and it's thick. It's much thicker than the Master Touch's marker paper. But the downside is for $10.29, which is the full price, or $5.15 if you wait for the sale price, you still only get 25 sheets of paper. So literally, I'm looking at this paper and I already used one to do my swatches to see what the color looked like. Now I'm like, my precious. And I don't want to use up too much of this paper, because like I said, the marker blends beautifully on this. Like, I really didn't have to put in much effort at all. Once again, I do advise, even though this paper is thick, because you only get 25 sheets, put a sheet protector underneath your work when you use these markers, when you use your markers on this pad. Now, for my extremely cheap choice, like if you don't have a Hobby Lobby near you and you can't afford to pay for a Canson Bristol board, which I can understand, even at $5.15 to pay for 25 sheets, I'm like, there has to be better. And I decided to go out to Walmart, And I thought about it and I was like, At first, my original thought was to go for the digital typing paper, because I've heard people talk about that you can use the digital typing paper, which I'm guessing it probably feels similar to the Master Touch paper. Don't quote me on it, but I assume that. But I couldn't find it. All I found was like Walmart's brand and just Georgia Pacific's brand of typing paper. So I decided to take a trip to the scrapbooks section, and they have their own cardstock there. The cards that I'm about to talk about is the Colorbok's cardstock in marshmallow, and it's marked smooth cardstock. So remember to look out for marshmallow smooth cardstock. But this paper here, it blends just as beautifully as the Canson's Bristol board. The only drawback is this paper is thinner than the Canson's Bristol board, and it bleeds, unfortunately. But if you have a blender marker, you can easily go in and correct those mistakes, and once it dries down, it still looks clear, like there's nothing being disturbed or anything with the paper when you do that. But the markers lay down so nicely on this paper. You get 50 sheets of paper for this pack, and the best thing is the best thing is that you pay $5 for these 50 sheets of paper. So if you want a cheaper alternative, I would say go for the Colorbok marshmallow paper. And once again, I tried to look online and see if anybody was talking about Colorbok's cardstock or anything of that nature or online. I did see somebody talk about a DeviantArt post about Colorbok, but they weren't talking about the same paper, and they were using the medium for a different purpose. They were using it for, I think it was pastels and watercolors and acrylics. And I'm like, no, marker. But everybody keeps talking about Canson and Strathmore and Express card. This is the cheapest I found. I even tried to go even cheaper and see if poster board would work on markers, but I would highly recommend you don't use poster boards for markers. Like, the ink does kind of blend, but not in the way you look for it. Like, it almost, because the surface is more slippery, it moves around a lot more when you use it. And on top of that, if you're sketching with a mechanical pencil or any kind of pencil, the graphite doesn't want to pull off of it as cleanly as any of these other papers I was talking about. And finally, we're gonna make it full circle and talk about one more Hobby Lobby brand product, which is, it doesn't even say that it's a Hobby Lobby brand, but it says graphic illustration markers. And when you see the markers, they have this line pattern on it, like there's triangles with lines inside of them. And like I said, it doesn't say it's Hobby Lobby brand, but when Hobby Lobby brands go on sale, these markers are marked down too. So keep that in mind. But anyway, these, you can get these, the one I have is 5 in a pack, which you get the 0.5, 0.05, sorry guys, 0.1, 0.3, 0.5, and then you get a brush tip marker tip. And these I actually like these, and I personally have what are they called? I have the other brand of, I have some microns. I have microns, and I had a very small one, and guys, it just leaks ink everywhere. Like, I don't know if my pen just exploded or what happened, but it just leaks ink everywhere. I feel like it's more the ink is actually coming out of the pen than me actually using it. And compared to these Hobby Lobby brand pens, I actually like the feel of the Hobby Lobby brand pens because they're a little bit, the barrel of the pens are a little bit thicker. The ink isn't as dark as maybe the microns, or if you get, I know some Walmarts have a small pack of the Prismacolor markers too. So you can, use this as starting inking, I guess you can say. But it doesn't move. Like, you do have to give it a few minutes to dry, but it doesn't take long to dry. And out of most of the markers I've had, it won't budge. Like, on the package it says water-based pens, which I don't know if they're really water-based. I mean, I tried to look all over the packaging. I think I looked on the website and it doesn't say what the ingredients are, so I guess I have to just believe that they're water-based pens. And I also followed the theory. I was like, well, because I made the mistake one time when I was doing a piece and decided to go in with a watercolor. I think it was on top of the marker, and I noticed that the pigment would not lay down at all. So I was like, does that mean I can lay down a watercolor and it won't budge? And the answer is yes. If you don't want to use these markers, which I know I'm getting sidetracked, but I have to say it, you can use Crayola's super tips or some of their other finer tip markers. If you're looking for more colors than just black, and you're looking for them cheap, but you would have to let them dry longer than these pens. But I've tried it before and it does work. It's just the super tip are too chunky for me compared to these, where I have more options on what size I want. The pens themselves, the 5-packs, are $10.99. Once again, you can catch these on sale and get these pens for about $5.99. Or I also noticed last time I went to Hobby Lobby, they have a 3-pack, which, if I remember correctly, it had, I think it was 0.1, 0.3, and 0.5 in that pack, which those are about what you would need. I don't think I'm gonna often use 0.05 that often. And the brush tip, I already have a brush tip marker that I use and love so much, and this review is getting so long, so I'm not gonna talk about it so too much. But it's the Pigma FB brush, the Pigma fine brush. I love this thing. But anyway, once again, I'm getting sidetracked. These pens, they feel better in the hand. They do give you a good option of what size lines you want to use. And once again, you can catch these on sale. Either this 5-pack I have, or you can get a 3-pack, like I said, for $5.99. Or you can wait. Or you can wait until they go on sale and get them for half price. Because, like I said, Hobby Lobby, they always have a sale. Depending on when this video is gonna be out, the sale might still be on. And even if you miss it, just keep an eye out on the website and you will find the sale. Even if you don't have a Hobby Lobby, you can catch some of these sales online, because most of the time, if they're going on in the store, they're going on the same sale that's going on online. So just keep an eye out for it. So yeah, this is my review on a few Hobby Lobby products and a couple of marker papers. For the finished piece you're looking at, I used the Colorbok paper. And as you saw in the video, I did have to go in a couple times with the blender, but it was no big deal. It was pretty easy to blend stuff on this paper. The color lays down so flat, so beautiful. I just love this paper, and like, if you don't want to get Canson, you know, because 25 sheets, you can definitely get this. It's very affordable. And like I said, the markers, like I said, they look just, the nib look almost identical to me. It's hard to get off. As you can see, the nib looks almost identical to the Ohuhu markers nib, except for the Ohuhu markers nib is maybe a little bit fatter at the bottom, but they feel very similar. In fact, I noticed that the tips aren't moving at all. Although some of my other Ohuhus, I have to be a little bit careful with them, because I noticed that the tips kind of move around just a hair. And even with that, for the Ohuhu markers, they say on their websites, if the tips get wear down, to just take the nib out. Which you can do with a pair of pliers, you know, a pair of gloves and some pliers, or just some gloves. I'm pretty sure you can probably take it out with just your hands and pull the nib out. And there's another nib on the inside of the barrel that you just flip around and use that side. So Ohuhu did think ahead of time for this. But anyway, and of course, like I said, these ink pens are great. Literally, I tried microns. I tried the Prisma ones, and it seems like these are the only ones that I've used so far where I can put the ink down and I don't have to wait for a century for the ink to dry. Because even with my favorite pen, the Pigma pen, it still doesn't dry, or it still smudges with lighter colors when I go in after I put it down on the paper. This, as long as you wait for it to dry, it's all good. But this is my review on the papers and the markers, and sorry to make this video so long, but I had to talk about this because I don't know why no one is talking about this. But anyway, I hope you guys have a great day. I hope you like my drawing of my kind of beachy, maybe not beachy girl. I just loved how she turned out. And all the colors that I used in this drawing, I'm going to put in the description box along with the name of the products again. So if you want to look for them, I'm going to put the products along with the link on the Hobby Lobby's website on the description box, along with the link to the 3 papers that I talked about. I hope you guys had a good evening, and I hope you guys try these products out for yourself and spread the word, because these are great. These really are. You don't have to break the bank to use markers and use really good supplies for markers. Anyway, you guys have a great day. See ya.